Hi everyone, it's Brooke, and I'm going to talk about the first 3 books I read in the month of March. I think I'm going to start doing them in batches of 3, so I hope you like this format. Let me know down below if you do or don't, just your feelings. The first book I read and completed was Love the Tiger by these 2 gentlemen. Pretty sure it was first published in Italy in 2011. This edition is published by Magnetic Press, and it was published in 2014. It tells the story of a tiger, just kind of a day in the life as a tiger wanders through the jungle trying to find a nice furry creature to eat. And that goes really badly or not so badly depending on whose side you're on. The entire graphic novel is wordless. It is told simply through illustration, and it does that really wonderfully. It's able to convey a lot of emotion and like twists and turns that I really appreciated. More than just the tiger, you see lots of other different animals going about their daily lives and participating in the circle of life. There's all kinds of really sort of nonchalant sex and things thrown in. There's a lot of violence. I basically kind of consider this, sort of like The Lion King with less singing and more murder. And I think it really explores the relationship between predator and prey very well. So yeah, I think that this is definitely worth your time. The illustrations are really pretty. It's just such a really well done graphic novel. Perfect for a readathon, which is when I read it, for the Underhyped Books readathon. And this is the first in a series. The second is called Love the Fox, and the third coming out this fall is called Love the Tiger. The second book I read in March was Two Serious Ladies by Jane Bowles. I also read this for the Underhyped Books readathon. Jane Bowles was a writer in the mid-20th century. She was married to Paul Bowles. They had a very unconventional marriage in the sense that both were gay. They moved all around the world and spent most of their time in Morocco. I think that's where Jane ended up dying as well. She was never as well known as her husband. This book is really weird. First, the edition is gorgeous. It's published by Echo. I think the book was originally published in 1943, and this one was published in 2014 or 15, and it's just beautiful. It does this thing that I've never seen another book do, where it crosses its sevens, and I really like that because I cross my sevens. Anyway, that's pointless maybe, but the book is really weird. It follows these 2 women. There's Mrs. Copperfield, who is kind of a young, frustrated housewife. She goes on vacation with her husband to Panama and ends up taking up with a teenage female prostitute. And then there is Miss Goring, who is not married. She desires to kind of toss her fortune and her mansion aside and move to this sort of shack-like place on Staten Island, where she begins spending each night taking the ferry across to Lower Manhattan and prostituting herself out to men with criminal backgrounds. These 2 women are very different personality-wise, but they sort of have the same journey to kind of toss off social construct and to purposefully kind of find themselves and find this self-actualization through putting themselves in these really uncomfortable, often dangerous situations. So it's bizarre. The writing is a little bit stilted at times. There is some snark and some sass, which I appreciated. It's almost like 3 short stories instead of like a novel necessarily. I mean, the first part and the last part are mostly told from Mrs. Goring's perspective, and the middle isn't told entirely from Mrs. Copperfield's perspective. I thought that there was a lot to like here, but some of the experimentation and kind of high concept and the stilted writing just took away a little bit from my overall enjoyment. And even though I read it really quickly, I can't say that it was my favorite thing I've ever read. But if it's something that interests you, I think that you should give it a shot. So it was a 3-star read. The final book I read in March was Sandra Cisneros' short story collection, Woman Hollering Creek. This was originally published in 1991, and this really pretty vintage edition was published in 1992. So this is about women, really, both sides of the U.S.-Mexico border. Sandra Cisneros, what she does best is give voice to these women in these stories who are often not given voice within the construct of society. Some of the stories are literally some of my favorite short stories I've ever read, including the title story where literally women get to yell, and I am here for angry yelling women all of the time. But there are some stories in here that just aren't as memorable, or I didn't really understand their place necessarily within the collection. So it's kind of a little bit of a mixed bag, but I do think that when she gets it right, when it's done really, really well, Sandra Cisneros is just, she's a undeniable, powerhouse in women's literature. I really enjoy the themes that Sandra Cisneros explores here, whether it's this cultural celebration or female oppression. I like the way she kind of subverts the idea that men kind of have all this power over women by having the women tell the stories. So yeah, I think it's a really great collection. I do recommend it. I think I gave it 3.5 stars just for some of the unevenness. But I think that it is very, very, very worthy to have on your shelves. Sandra Cisneros as an author is definitely worth at least an attempt at the end of the day, I guess. So that is Sandra Cisneros' Woman Hollering Creek. Those are the first 3 books I read in March. There will at least be 2 more parts to this video because I think I've already read 9. And let me know down below again if you like this method. And let me know the last 3 books that you've most recently finished, and I will talk to you guys later.